Are you a tenant? Are you concerned your landlord may be violating your rights? Hi, I'm Simon Dippenaar and I'm an attorney. Now, the housing crisis in South Africa has led to a shortage of affordable housing options. Many people are forced to live in overcrowded or unsafe conditions. Landlords also struggle to find suitable tenants as rents are pushed upwards by the increasing cost of living. The Rental Housing Act of 1999 addresses some of these issues. However, many people are not aware of their rights as tenants. Now, tenants have obligations dictated by the lease agreement. First and foremost, they have a duty to pay rent on time every month. They have a responsibility to keep the property in good order and report any breakages or any other problems to the landlord. They must abide by the terms of the lease agreement and not breach any conditions of occupancy. It's easy to think the landlord has all the rights and the tenant has all the responsibilities. But tenants also have rights, and the law is very clear on the recourse available to tenants if the landlord violates those rights. If you are a tenant, you have the right to a property that is habitable and in good condition. Overcrowding or hygiene issues are a breach of your rights. A habitable property means the landlord maintains the property and makes repairs when necessary. They may not disconnect essential services even if you haven't paid the rent. You have a right to receipts or statements for payments made. You have the right not to be evicted without the correct legal process having been followed. The landlord is not allowed to change the locks or seize your possessions. The landlord may not increase the rent by an unfair amount. Most leases allow for a set percentage increase on the renewal of the lease, usually at the annual anniversary. The landlord may not arbitrarily increase the rent without adhering to those conditions. At the end of the tenancy, you have the right to have your deposit returned after deductions for any damages. But what if the landlord violates these rights? In the first instance, we always advise landlords and tenants to talk to each other. Many disputes are the result of misunderstanding or poor communication. Try to initiate a conversation with your landlord to resolve the matter. If a frank discussion doesn't clear things up, there are things you can do. One of the features of the Rental Housing Act was the establishment of rental housing tribunals. The tribunal's job is to settle disputes between tenants and landlords. The service is free to both parties and is supported by the Department of Human Settlements. The tribunal's role is to harmonize relationships between landlords and tenants, resolve disputes that arise due to unfair practices, inform landlords and tenants about their rights and obligations, make recommendations to relevant stakeholders. Now, anyone can lodge a complaint with the Rental Housing Tribunal and you don't need a lawyer, though of course I'm happy to help. Complaint forms are on the Human Settlements website. Now, documents you need to lodge with the tribunal include your ID and a copy of the lease and any supporting documentation such as rental statements or letters of request for repairs. The tribunal will review your complaint to determine if there is a legitimate dispute. If the tribunal decides your grievance is genuine, it will attempt to resolve the dispute through mediation. If mediation is unsuccessful, the next step is arbitration. This is a hearing designed to resolve disputes. Both you and the landlord must attend. The tribunal's ruling at the hearing is binding on both parties. On rare occasions, a court of law can be used to solve a complaint rather than the tribunal. If you are in rental arrears, the landlord may go to court to claim the amount owed, but only if unfair practice is not involved. If the landlord has grounds for eviction, they must go to court for an eviction order. The tribunal cannot grant an order to evict you, but for all issues involving a breach of tenant rights, the Rental Housing Tribunal is the appropriate vehicle for resolution. If you'd like to know more about your rights, either as a tenant or a landlord, or if you need help with the tenancy agreement, give me a call on the number and the signature below.